The greatest source of entertainment is coming straight out of your own neighborhoods. This is Residential Raw Talent. This program reflects the works and attitudes of local artists. I'm Galen Thomas. Enjoy the show.
Maybe as some of you in the audience hear these stories, you can identify with these people and their trials in your life or the lives of someone you know. It may not be you that needs help, maybe someone you know or love. If so, we urge you to get that help or try to guide that someone else to get the help that is needed. Act 2 continues the therapy session, telling your stories will be Austin, a man dealing with autism, Donald, a physically challenged young man, April, who has been a victim of domestic violence, and Harriet, a destitute and homeless woman, begins her story.
My name is Harriet.
Hi, Harriet.
And I was a homeless person. Alan, you mentioned you were homeless at one time. Well, I was homeless for 5 years. I lived in an airport. I lived in train stations, off and on for 5 long years.
Where's your family? Do you have any children?
Yes, I have family. I have 3 children.
Well, why would your family leave you out in the street like that?
They have their own lives to live. My family can't feed, clothe, and pay my bills. They have their own lives to live.
Well, how did you come to be homeless?
I'm glad you asked that question. Because back in the day, I did some heavy drugs. I did some heroin. I did some cocaine. And I even smoked a little weed. Whatever I could get my hands on, I would do. I guess I was looking for love in all the wrong places. I had 3 children by 3 different men. I wasn't married to any of them. I bounced from home to home. But I was not free to be myself. So one day, I was living with one of my daughters. And I wasn't free to be myself. So I walked out of her house after a long, bitter argument. And then I walked and walked until I couldn't walk any further. It wouldn't have been so bad if it had not been the coldest night of the year. I can remember the cold wind blowing across my face as I tried to lay on the bench, a bus shelter bench, and get some sleep. My feet began to freeze as I curled up on the bench to sleep. No one bothered to look for me. No one was concerned about me except for a Salvation Army that offered me food and shelter until I could get back on my feet.
Did you lose anything? Your dignity?
I lost my home. I lost my friends. I lost my dignity.
Yeah, you hear that a lot. You hear that a lot. My question to you is, once you got back on your feet, did you get your own home? And more importantly, did you thank God for saving you through all the things that you went through?
Where was God when I needed Him? Why would He do a human being like that? I thought we all belonged to God. But now I realize that we were only His fools and just His puppets. Every time I felt that chilling wind go by my face, my heart, the colder it got, the colder my heart got. But there is one thing that I remember that I've kept deep inside of me. And that is that I love to sing.
Well, why don't you sing something for us now, Harry? Yeah, sing something.
I don't sing anymore. I think the drinking, the alcohol, and the liquor has taken my place. So I don't think singing is out of the question.
You sing something very out there.
That would be great. We can have a little concert.
Right now.
We'll help you sing. How about that?
Can you play You Are My Sunshine?
We'll help you sing.
Think about taking singing lessons because you have a very strong voice, and with a little practice, you could be the next Diana Ross.
Counselor, do you really think so?
I don't see why not. There has been many who have followed and came back better than ever. That's something you should really think about.
Hello. My name is April. And I was abused through domestic violence by my husband.
Oh, man.
There's one thing that I will always thank my husband for, and that is,
I think that's my right.
she made sure we had a biblical foundation. She made sure we went to church every Sunday morning. And this is how I found God. And I made up in my mind to follow him.
No, that's right.
It seems to be working. I don't crave the drugs and the alcohol anymore. And I finally feel good about myself.
All right.
There you go.
But then I met the man that became my husband. The devil himself. He was serving time in jail. And I am so sorry for taking a letter from my sister, pretending he was writing it to me. He said everything a woman loves to hear. I fell head over heels in love with this man. I can't believe how I felt about him. I fell head. So when he asked to marry me, I quickly said yes. He said he had found God, called himself a minister. But I can't believe the way he had treated me.
Say it.
We did crack cocaine.
What? Crack?
Even though we went to church. We did the church, we did crack cocaine, and nearly had an overdose. You're right. He could not find a job. But I had a job paying $28 an hour. He had a plan to start his own business, which failed miserably. But I don't want to think about all the mistakes that he's done. The last thing that he did to me was beat me so bad till I ended up in the hospital. I ended up in the hospital. I had head injuries so severe.
Wow.
Until I lost my job. He stole my car, left town on attempted murder charges.
Good thing it wasn't you.
It was indeed. But the thing about it, now he's serving time for another murder. But I thank God I finally got my life together. And now I'm serving a good God.
Well, hi, my name is Don. And I was born without arms. I can't recall how I was treated by my parents after my birth, but I do remember the first day of school. I was put into a public school and not a special school because my brain was capable of learning with a high IQ. There were no other children in my class that was deformed like me. That made me feel so alone and so embarrassed. Even if the other children wanted to hang out with me or be my friend, they would be put down or ridiculed for even wanting to be with me.
Let's do it.
I had to learn how to write with my feet, comb my hair with my feet, bathe myself with my feet. Anything I had to do had to be done with my feet. This was so hard. It was just so hard. But I was proud of myself, even though my parents were not. As I grew older, I would notice the disgusted stares I would get from them. But it was the "I wish you were never born" stare that I hated the most.
Did you have any brothers and sisters?
Yeah, I did. And that was a nightmare that came true. I was, quote, blessed with another sibling. During my mother's pregnancy, I would sit in my room wondering if he or she would be deformed just like me. And well, as luck would have it, she wasn't. I mean, don't get me wrong. I wouldn't wish this hell on anyone. I just felt that if she had a defect, I wouldn't feel so alone and so unloved. She and I would have something in common. But she wasn't. From her shiny black hair to her 10 little fingers and toes. It made me sick to my stomach how I watched how my parents doted over her while pushing me further and further away. 2 years after her birth, I was blessed with another sibling. Yeah, you guessed it, a brother. And he was born perfect as well. I just thought to myself, this won't be good for me in the long run. And boy, was I right. By the time I was 10 years old, my parents couldn't take it anymore, so they sent me away.
Why did they send you away after your siblings were born?
They felt that it was just too hard taking care of 2 perfect children and taking care of 1 imperfect child. So, I became a ward of the state.
What?
Yeah. I mean, I never asked them why. I just assumed that they felt it was too hard taking care of 2 perfect children and taking care of 1 imperfect child. And the people had no mercy. They would ask her, has she been hit in the stomach while pregnant with me? Or was she doing drugs while she was pregnant with me? Now that question, she hated the most. it was after all those questions she couldn't take it anymore. So she put me in an institution and never looked back. I mean, my siblings wanted to protest, but they were too young. Once I could find in my nightmares, trouble and tortures began. The interns and the nurses hated to do anything for me. When it was time for me to eat, they would throw things on the floor and say, "Eat, dog, eat." I'm not a freaking dog.
That's right.
I'm a human being.
Tom, if you taught yourself how to read and write with your feet, why don't you teach yourself how to eat with your feet?
I did. But it was hard trying to put my feet to my mouth. I mean, I managed to succeed after much exercise and practice. Growing up in there was no picnic. I was constantly being kicked down, spit at, beaten, called names no human being should never have to answer to.
How much about you?
I wanted to. I did. I wanted to at least drop kick him or something. I would ask myself every day, where is this God that everyone says exists? If he exists, then why did he let all this happen to me? I mean, I could have had a family, a wife, and children of my own, but the constitutions and the institution and my parents never gave me a chance.
That's not right.
I was experimenting on like I was an animal, you know, like I was a guinea pig. I just got tired of all those kinds of treatment, and I just left as fast as my legs could carry me. Once I got outside of the parking lot, I stole the car. Yeah, I stole one with my feet, I did. And I ran, I left, and drove so fast and kept going until I ran out of gas. And that's when the state police stopped me, picked me up, and brought me here. I guess this is the end of my road.
Don, you are a very wise man. I see you finding a young lady that will love you and accept you as you are. You are a very beautiful person, and I'm sure she would be willing to have a family with you. Okay? So don't give up. Oh, by the way, I assume all the other parts are working, okay? Do you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah! As a matter of fact, all my parts are working just fine. And I'm very well endowed in that department, if you know what I mean.
Okay, Don. I know you'll be all right. Austin, you ready to tell your story?
Yes. Hello. My name is Austin, and I have autism. You may have noticed that I stutter when I talk. Some people think it's very funny, and some people think it's very annoying.
I'm one of those people.
But I don't think it's very funny or very annoying, because at one time I could not talk at all. My parents told me that when I was 2, I was diagnosed with autism. But my mom said that before I turned 2, I could talk. I could say mama and dada and all the things that little kids say. But when I turned 3, everything stopped. My family thought that I was mentally disturbed or dumb.
Hey, right?
They didn't try to teach me anything. I wore Pampers until I was 7 years old. Yeah, and it wasn't until my step-grandmother came to live with us that everything began to change. One day, while my grandma was babysitting, I soiled my pamper. What? And my grandma refused to change my diaper until my mom got home. Oh my goodness. She told my mom that she refused to change the diaper on someone that was as old as me. She told my mom I should be wearing pull-ups so that I could go to the potty on my own. So my stepdad went out and bought me some pull-ups, and soon I began to use the potty on my own and started wearing regular underwear. Yeah. My grandma was the first one to notice that I wasn't mentally challenged. I just could not talk, and I was autistic.
So are you saying that it was your grandmother, Austin, that is the reason that you got to normal now?
Well, no, not really, because I went to schools and I went to speech schools where there were others like me. Some of them could talk and some of them could not talk. I would get so frustrated going from institution to institution, trying to get people to understand what I wanted them to know.
Wow.
As I got older, I would write down what I wanted people to know, and as I got even older, I would write down what I wanted to say. But even that got boring after a while. So I learned how to do sign language. But that only helped with people that already knew how to sign. So one day, I was going on a Greyhound bus trip, and the bus broke down. So we all had to get off the bus, and while we were all standing around, people began to mingle with each other. But when I tried to mingle with people, people would actually ignore me and walk away. I thought when I learned how to talk that I would be more accepted and understood, but because I stutter when I talk. People would actually just walk away and ignore me. And then one time, I tried to become a motivational speaker. But the first time I tried to give a speech, I got laughed right off the stage. I felt so miserable and stupid and ugly. I just wanted to turn invisible. I never had a close friend. Sometimes I think my family just wish that I would just fade away. But I won't fade away.
That's right, that's right.
Because I have the same right to live on this earth as any other God-fearing human being, person. Because I belong to God too.
We're so happy to have you here. God loves you for it.
Thank you.
That concludes our Act 2. Would you show your appreciation to our Act 2 act?
RRT is meant to be a door for new and upcoming talent and a vehicle for existing talent. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Let us know if you want to be a part of the show. We hope that you've enjoyed this edition. We thank you for watching. And as always, we look forward to seeing you next time on Residential Raw Talent.